All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We are on third gen content again. Today's project is going to be a steering upgrade to the truck. If you have third or fourth gens, you realize how bad the steering is on this. And this is the old style, so I've upgraded to the Apex style steering. It's a new, I believe it's a T-style steering. You do have to get a new pitman arm, and of course to match the Fox shocks, I also got a Fox 2.0 steering stabilizer. So let me get into showing you what's all into the kit. But before we do that, of course, we want to give a huge shout out to SPELAB. They are a continued sponsor of the channel, and you'll see some more of their products upcoming. But check out their website. They got a whole bunch of stuff for other makes and models other than just Ram trucks. Not required, but we're gonna do it anyway. We went ahead and looped the steering wheel so it doesn't turn. You're gonna need alignment after this is all said and done. However, because we are taking the pitman arm off, this should allow the wheel to spin freely, and I don't want to break the clock spring. So let me show you what we actually got from Apex. Really heavy duty stuff, and then we'll get into the install. All right, so here is everything included into their kit. The longer bar here, I think this is 1 3/4 inch diameter piping. The longer one, of course, is what would be the tie rod. The top one, the shorter one, that it goes for the drag link. Here's each one of the tie rod ends. There's that one over there. These two here, as you can tell, this one goes to the pitman arm, and this one connects from the drag link down to the tie rod bar. So of course you'll see they have Ninja washers. Here's the clamp kit. That is Apex's low mount kit. I believe it's pretty much a universal one. They provide different hardware for that. Of course, there's the new pitman arm. All the pipe comes wrapped in this stuff, which is really, really nice to protect it. And then of course there's the Fox 2.0 shock. Probably getting a boot for that, but not right now. I think the hardest part of this is going to be getting the old pitman arm off. But we're gonna get the front end jacked up and we'll get into the install. I do wanna mention one other thing before I forget. Apex, if you watch one of our other videos, I did say that they forgot that part right there. I contacted them on a Tuesday, and by Friday the part was shipped out. So they do stand up to their warranty, which is awesome. Right there. Of course, he didn't make it out to be like he was in. Okay, so we'll get into the sizes here in a minute. I'm gonna try to take this off as much as a whole assembly as I can. Probably gonna do each knuckle and then take the sway bar or the steering stabilizer off and drop it from the pitman arm. I'm gonna try to take the pitman arm off by itself because I have a feeling that's gonna be the worst thing to do. So let me check on the sizes of some of this stuff. Let me see if I can get a reason. I don't have a wheel on it. So this joint right here that comes down off the drag link, this has a lot of slop in it. This was the reason why I wanted to upgrade this anyway. So give me a second to figure out what sizes and do this on each side. And of course, I'll show you the pitman arm here. So he's running that off with the gun. There's the pitman arm. Like I said, what I'd like to try to do, separate this side, unbolt the steering stabilizer from there. We'll unbolt that side, and this should come out minus the pitman arm. We'll have to work on the pitman arm here in a minute. 22 on each one of those sides.
All right, guys. So before we get into too much, just kind of want to run through how we pulled this out. Your end caps are 22s. One on the pitman arm is 22. The only part, and the front of the steering is a 15, and then the backside nut that you can't really get to is a 19. And we soaked everything in PB really well. A little help right here is going to be a pickled fork and a good bit of just beating on that with a hammer. The pickle fork really did help separate it though. And then obviously 2 sets of hands like me and my brother were doing make it pretty easy to get out. So before we get into measuring and getting everything lined up and getting the stars on the apex set up, kind of want to just show you guys the difference in size. I think that's the biggest part. Like there's going to be no flex and the apex at all with how thick it is. But you can just see, and this is all factory stuff, guys. This has been around for, and it's been on the truck since brand new, obviously.
Oh, nuts.
I mean, obviously, pretty beat up. I mean, the truck has like 140 on it, but it is an 05, so a little old. This still has a little bit left to it.
It's got, well, no, it's not bouncing back.
Yeah, but you guys can just see from us showing you this. Yeah, this stuff's massive. Like,
that one's okay.
No comparison on size. So anyway, let's get into measurements. I'll show you guys what's next.
Okay, so we are to this point. Now it does say in their instructions that you are supposed to measure from grease end to grease end on both tie rod and drag link, which we did that. I have a 32 deep well socket onto the steering box. This is where the pitman arm is going to come off. I'll probably set this up on time lapse, but for now, I'm just going to hook my DeWalt on this, pull the nut off, and then I have PB blasted this multiple times. And I guess you guys will get a front row seat of how bad this is to get off. So this part won't be bad because I'm putting the DeWalt on it, but getting it off the splines of the steering box, that's going to be a different story. All right, guys. So, again, multi-day video. This isn't my daily, don't care. We had to go to O'Reilly's to rent this tool because the one that I had was way too big for to fit between the space. I wish we would have filmed this part. However, what we ended up doing, as you can tell, the pitman arm is off. So what we did was we had to grind down. This is a AutoZone part. As you could tell, it's grinded down. We didn't go ham on it. We did not use any impact or anything. We just used a breaker bar. We'd go until it got really, really, really tight and then hammered on the pitman arm. And of course, I sprayed this a couple times before we started this video with PB. Highly recommend that, but you are gonna have to modify this almost. Breaker bar, don't use an impact because you will break this. But lots of hammering, you'll be deaf. But I wish we would have filmed it, but actually wasn't as bad as I thought. It was harder to grind this tool down than it was to get that pitman arm off.
Bench grinder, so the grinding of the tool makes it so much easier.
Yeah, we have, we tried to use a grinding wheel, but the bench wheel actually worked better. So tomorrow, when we get a chance, but the pitman arm, as you can tell from the pitman arm when you're doing this, it is keyed. It only goes on one way. So, but we'll finish that up tomorrow, and then we'll get everything closely to where it needs to go. And then, of course, it's still gonna have to get aligned. But finish this video up. It's gonna be one video for you guys. So thanks for watching up to this point. So stay tuned for tomorrow. All right, guys, finishing up with the install. It's the next day. Next, we're gonna do the pitman arm. I wanted to show you, this is spline. You see how it has a larger spline in 2 spots? This can only go on one way, so as far as the alignment goes. So for 2005, you have to check if, I think the newer 3rd gens have more of a torque spec, but this is 185 foot-pounds for an 05. So let me get the torque wrench, get back under there, and we'll torque it to spec. Okay. So just for comparison, I want to show you what I wish I would have filmed taking this off, but you can see right there is where we were hammering on it. Nope, I lied, right over there, sorry. So anyway, I want to show you the differences in between these, because the newer style has a different shape to it. Even though it doesn't really look that different, it is. So I'm gonna put a little anti-seize on the steering arm. I don't think this thing's ever gonna come back off, but if I ever do need it off again. And I'm actually gonna put some on the splines too. Not a bunch, just a little bit. And then we are going to get this to line up. Right there. Definitely easier to go on than it was to come off. So let me tighten this up real quick, and this part's done, and then we'll get into, let me pause the video just for a second. I'm gonna tighten this until it gets a little bit closer, and then I'll show you the different pieces for the front suspension. All right, so I got it pretty much almost there. This is 180 foot-pounds, so there you go. All right, let me get out from underneath here, and next we're going to assemble the tie rod bar and ends, and I'll show you what pieces go with that, but I'm probably gonna assemble that out of the underneath the truck. Okay, so they do have a baggy tie rod end parts. There's the new and style of the Ninja Stars. Any parts per their instructions, drop that. I have a TR belong to the tie rod. Any parts that have a DR belong to the drag link. So let me get this set up. Per their instructions, they say not to grease this part of it. Actually grease inside of this rod. So let me get this set up on the bench. So actually I found their printed instructions. So I'm gonna hold this up here just for a minute. You can also find this online. And of course there's a page too, but we're gonna get into this. I gotta figure out which side goes to what. And then we're gonna put the Ninja Stars on, like I said, grease inside of the tube, and should be good to go. There's no way with how heavy this is, even with the lift, I don't think you're gonna be able to put all of this together. And actually one of the easiest ways, to be able to tell, this would be for the passenger side. This goes for the drag link. So easy enough. I'm gonna assume we're gonna rotate it this way. So the Apex sticker is on the front. Pretty much from what I saw online, as long as the Apex sticker faces the front, that is the correct direction. So the one with the hole is going to go down here, and this one will go right here. Now they say once you do put this on the truck, you're supposed to remove the plastic, I guess, protective cap, and you're supposed to put just a little bit of grease on the rubber boot so it doesn't end up tearing. Let me get this set up. I'll at least show you what it looks like real quick. I'm gonna grease inside. Actually, I'll probably set you guys on time lapse, and then we'll at least install this part on the truck. Okay, so this is how I have everything set up. They basically in the instructions say the passenger side, this is driver side, but to thread this nut all the way down, and then you'll be able to adjust it. Of course, that still needs tightened. The Apex star goes towards this side, and this will be bent down over the adjusting rod. I have it set to Apex's A is going to be in the front. We'll get into this in a minute. This is actually their jam nut tool. I have two of them. That was like $40 for that piece of metal. I had trouble with this side getting it in the threads. I don't know if it was dropped during or like boxing or shipping. Not gonna blame anybody. But it was a little bit tiny boogered. I kind of had to work it back and forth. It's fine now. So again, with these, this is gonna be like if you're looking at the front of the truck. Apex There's the sticker. There's the other one. I have not measured this, so the measurements that you took before any of this came off, mine was, I believe, 61 or 61 and a half. I got to look. I texted it to my brother. I'm going to measure from, I think it's ball end to ball end. Also, while I'm reading this, make sure that when you do anti-seize, don't anti-seize the threads on this, anti-seize inside here. Let me see real quick. To the grease fittings or ball stud, center to center, basically. However, just make sure, of course, it's going to get aligned, so it's probably going to have to be tweaked anyway. So anyway, let me get the measurements. I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to tighten everything up. Actually, I don't think I need to tighten it up yet. I think I need to tighten it just so it doesn't move, and then I'm going to install it on the truck. These caps do come off. I'm going to wait until the end to put the grease fittings on the end. And so let me read the instructions, make sure I don't need to do anything. I know I need to coat the boots once these plastic caps come off. And then this piece can at least go back on. So the truck's almost back together. Okay, so you don't need a lift for this. Obviously, it would make things easier. I went ahead and did the passenger side first. Which might have to jack this up just a little bit to get that jack out. But definitely would make things easier if you had another set of hands. Not necessary though. Other side's already done. I did skip around on the instructions just a little bit. They recommend that you put the drag link together also. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to do this part first. So I will say this is very heavy duty. It makes it very hard to handle by yourself. So that's basically what it should look like. Of course, I did put a little bit of grease on the boots. As you can tell, let me get a better shot. There's the apex symbol. Same thing with that side. So a lot better looking. Okay, so drag link time. Obviously put Star Washer on just like this, or Ninja Washer, sorry. There's a little line there. That is the minimum engagement that you need for this. So if it is past this line, you may need to look at different kits. I haven't measured this, obviously. I don't even have the other end on. The tie rod end was 61 and a half, and I believe this one's 41. So once I get this aligned, we're gonna go ahead and then put this one on. The straight shaft goes to the pitman arm, and that one would go to the tie rod. And of course, again, same thing when I pull these dust caps off, make sure that you put a little bit of grease on there. That way, it doesn't tear the boots when you're torquing stuff. All right, guys, we are almost finished this. I loosely put everything on drag link. Obviously, the truck needs aligned. I'm gonna try to get it done Sunday. It's a 22 millimeter nut. It's 75 foot-pounds, 75 to 82 foot-pounds for each one of the castle nuts. I still have to put the grease circs in, and then
We're doing 82, by the way.
we're doing 82 foot-pounds. And I'm still gonna do that. Like I said, pitman arm is 185 foot-pounds. That's fun to do. We're almost done with this video. Okay, so we got everything tightened up under here. Of course, we don't have the lock washers pushed down. Everything's been torqued down. These are 78 to 82 foot-pounds. Tie rod ends as well. The nut for that is 185 pounds checked because I think the newer third gens are different. We put the shock in the factory mount, and we're going to go ahead and get the bracket up here. Once we get the bracket loosely mounted, we're going to turn the wheel to lock, see if there's any kind of binding, and then that's pretty much it. We're going to take it for a test drive, finish this video up. All right, so this is everything that's included. Whenever you do start this, they do want you, there is a torquing sequence. I'm going to loosely mount this, but just finger tight it for now. But I think you go here, 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 and then there and there. So basically you torque it so it's even specs. Depends on what shock you get. I don't know what that one is, but I got the Fox one, so it's going to look like that. And there are the bolts. I'll probably end up Loctiting these, but for right now, I just want to make sure that there's no binding, and where the mount is, it's good to go. All right, so everything is done. I'm pretty sure this is how the mount goes. Pretty much it's just in a neutral position. I was wrong about the bolt. It is the standard mount. The Fox one is for the ATS shock. This is just a 2.0 shock. There's like $120, $30 difference. So we're gonna, before we put the wheels back on, we're gonna make sure that there's nothing binding. I'm gonna take it for a quick test drive. They recommend after 500 miles to recheck everything after it's been aligned. By the way, that's only 8 foot-pounds on that mount. And then every 5,000 miles afterwards. So let's get the wheels on. I wanna make sure that there's nothing interfering with the shock, and we're good to go. All right, guys, so as you can tell, he's going straight. Wheel definitely needs adjusted. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. I'll say this I wanted him to drive it. There is zero slop in it. I did have to adjust the sway or the steering stabilizer shock one time. Cannot be mad about it, but I'm telling you, not that my truck had a lot of play in it to begin with, but there's none now. So definitely can't wait for this thing to get aligned, so it should even ride better than that. But if you guys watch up to this point, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Check out Facebook as always, and thanks again. All right, guys, I do want to finish up. I guess this is a bonus part I forgot to mention. So the kit that I have is an older kit. I looked on their website because I noticed that the tool that I bought for this kit did not fit over the lock jam washers that had the little hex screws in them. So mine is like the kit 180. I looked on their website last night. It looks like they have a new kit that has those. So I don't know if my kit's like a hybrid. They were out of the old ones or what the case is. I've emailed them. Of course, with it being the 4th of July, no one's probably going to answer till next week. But I would like to get that tool to fit over that. Like, I paid for them. I don't think that they'll have any problem sending that. But I'm just being completely transparent. Super impressed with this kit. I think I have to mess with the steering stabilizer a little bit. That's not the kit's fault. That's mine. I guess they could have a little better directions of how to put it on. But I'm telling you, there is no slop in the front end of this. Not that it was that bad to begin with, but it couldn't get any better. Like, I guess maybe with a new steering box, but it is so touchy that it makes my brother's fortune feel kind of loose now. So highly recommend this kit. Wasn't that bad to install, and once I get this aligned and get the other tires on, it should be looking really good. So anyway, this is finally it. So thanks for watching.